Come on then.
Enough talking about it. Let's be about it.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
Welcome to What's Left podcast on the Derealization Nation Media Network.
I can't afford Mountain Dew! Okay? The economy's rough right now! Obama!
Miners, I love miners.
And now, your hosts.
Hey, it's John, it's Jake, it's Brad, it's the Derealization Nation Media Network, the What's Left podcast, coming at you on a Sunday night. By the time you hear this, might be Monday morning. But we've got a lot of things going on. We've got some Epstein stuff, but actually, in reality, as the U.S. continues to murder people on the high seas in the Caribbean and moves their warships toward Iran, we actually have a bit of a quiet pause from our president, who has gone quiet for him. And that's all thanks to the release of the Epstein files. They released a bogus ass list the other day, which was just insulting to everybody. Just goes to show how unseriously they're taking it, but we're going to take it seriously. We're going to dive into some of the issues. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're also going to talk a little bit about the Gavin Newsom problem that we have, and we'll get into all that. But first, let's start with the start. Jake, we're going to start off by talking about Jeffrey Epstein and his friends. And the first thing we got here is this. So this is an interesting theory come up from two files that mention Jared Kushner. So Trump swore he cut off all ties with Jeffrey Epstein back in the mid-2000s after banning him from Mar-a-Lago. Yet in 2013, years after Jeffrey Epstein's conviction, Jared Kushner personally sent Jeffrey Epstein an invite to a swanky New York Observer Gala, an event that had Donald Trump himself on the guest list alongside Harvey Weinstein. Kushner was and is the family's handler. I mean, he still has an important role within the government, even though he doesn't technically have any actual role in the government.
I mean, he drew up the plan for Gaza.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the invite. It is as, Mayor Bloomberg was there as well. And, of course, Peggy. Looking forward to seeing you. God, quintessential New York Nights with a bunch of fucking pedophiles. So this person is apostatizing that Jared Kushner was the one who took over the Epstein operation, which was money laundering, covert weapons deals, blackmail, and more. I have zero doubt he's the same person who requested an exorbitant amount of classified documents for the White House that ended up at Mar-a-Lago. That Mar-a-Lago thing has been bothering me so much lately. Like, there's no doubt in my mind, personally, that those documents at Mar-a-Lago, as much as everybody's worried about them being nuclear codes, clearly, to me, at least a chunk of them are this. At least a chunk of them. And they could be, honestly, still somewhere else other than in the FBI's possession. But someone will go ahead and read the this part here.
Sure. In or around late 2016, Hill McFadden came across an LLC account, Real Contract LLC, owned by Jared Kushner. As part of the case, the majority of the transactions were in cryptocurrency, and she was unable to validate the origination of the recipient of the funds. It was easy to determine the activity was suspicious, and there was an issue. Real Contract appeared to be paying an employee in cryptocurrency. Hill McFadden thought the activity was mind-boggling, and she had never seen a flow like that. She examined the July and August 2016. Hill McFadden notified Quigley about the activity, and she was instructed to write a case narrative and send it to her. Hill McFadden wrote the case narrative, sent it to Quigley, who determined Hill McFadden's claims were unfounded. Hill McFadden came across the name of a Russian individual. She Google searched that individual and found a website that appeared to be made up. The website said he was in the United States, but there was no picture, just an avatar. On the website, the individual was listed as an employee of Real Contract, but everything, including the job description, looked bogus. She then went to one of Kushner's websites and noted that the individual was not listed as an employee.
All right, let's pause here and talk about this one, because this one is it's so fucking wild to me, but it's got all of the elements of all of these things, including the Russia connection, which is just, I mean, how many times do we have to do this? before like these people are dragged out in the street. I mean, what are we even doing here?
We're not mad enough. We're not mad enough. And I've been like real nihilist today, so I'm like, well, maybe let's relax on the podcast tonight. But like, we are not mad enough. We should be holding a revolution right now.
Yeah, no, I've been daydreaming about shouting down Scott Jennings on CNN. You know, it's been I've been daydreaming about even I don't know more less YouTube friendly things today because I just don't feel like you said we're bad enough. Because Jake, this is on top of child abuse. We also have all of these things, and I don't know if you think like, but I'm starting. I really do kind of believe there's no way that this ring is just gone, right? Like somebody still runs this operation. Humans are still trafficked every day.
Yeah, 1000%. This is not stopped. You can tell by how many people are involved that it's still just going on. We don't know who's running it per se, but like they're all still very highly involved.
Yeah, another person floated for this is the uh, Tate brothers. You know, could be the current because they're obviously involved in trafficking. The Trumps brought them here, protected them from charges. They take them all over the place. Like that is also to me just as intriguing as this for fingering who's currently the head of this cabal. Um, And you also have these other Alexander brothers. It's just a case that we don't even have time to talk about. But they work together to rape women too, and they also have connections to the Trump family. And people are suggesting that maybe it's them, or maybe it's all of them.
It'd be great if we just brought all of them in and talked to all of them so you figure things out like that.
That is true. You could just ask questions.
These questions could be answered.
It seems simple.
Yeah. No, because it is simple. That's just it. Like I think Karen said in her last in that interview, like it is the business of Congress is not complicated. The business of prosecuting a pedophile cabal is not complicated. It just has to be done. There just has to be some fucking willingness to do it, and that's where we're lacking is in the willingness department.
Yes.
Yeah, this is not complex. Let's move to the next one, Jake. So Ohio State rejected the request to move Lex Wexner, who is an Ohio State alum's name, from their football facility. He donates big money to that school and obviously is a co-conspirator. I have big feelings about this, as does Brad. On top of the university taking money, the Republican Senate candidate, John Husted, has also taken this year after his vote against the release of the Epstein files, this man went ahead and took $100,000 plus from the same Les Wexner, who is a co-conspirator in the files. This hurts. I'm an Ohio State fan. Brad's an Ohio State fan. Jake can give a fuck less. He actually roots against Ohio State. So he's probably not all that upset about it. But Brad, I know you're upset. This is rough.
Yeah, this is terrible. To put into perspective how much of an Ohio State fan I am, I've seen my dad cry twice in my entire life. Once when he lost his mother. The other time was when Ohio State beat Miami in the national championship. Those are 2 times I've seen my dad cry ever in my life. Ohio State fan since I was a child. However, Les Wexner is a scumbag. The bare minimum is that they remove him from existence at the University of Ohio State. There should be no question about that. However, we weren't able to find the video and get a good copy of the video, but we have Mr. Gee, who is superintendent, I believe. I don't know, some important role. He is at the university praising Les Wexner. Journalists are coming to record this, essentially, and we have professors beating up journalists at Ohio State University. They are fighting journalists at Ohio State University.
Yeah, he gave him some like kung fu chop.
Yeah, this is what they're doing to defend Les Wexner. This dude is scum. Ohio State, as we're learning more things, they've covered up abuse for years. We already know about the abuse from years past that Jim Jordan covered up. Jim Jordan is a representative in the American government, by the way, just in case you didn't know that. Jim Jordan, piece of shit scumbag.
Jim Jordan is the head of the Judiciary Committee, who is in charge of overseeing the Department of Justice, who's in charge of overseeing the Epstein files.
Correct. That's Jim Jordan. The guy Sascha Barros has been outspoken about. He's the guy leading the way. He is leading the way on what's going to come out from these files. That's
the one whose wrestlers said that he helped cover up an abuse at Ohio State while he was a coach there. This man, who has his only and best experience, much like Pam Bondi's, is covering up for sex predators.
Ohio State will go around the week of the Michigan game and cross out every M on campus. If there is an M on campus, it will be crossed out with red tape. Mm-hmm. We do this annually. For them to not take down this man's name is disgusting. To keep defending him, to have Guy up there defending him, speaking in favor of Les Wexner is disgusting. It's a terrible look for the university. I hope you lose all your money. This is disgusting.
Yeah.
It's the bare minimum that they have to. I don't understand how other countries, we have political figures stepping down and resigning because they're demanding accountability. And here in America, they're just like, nah, bro, actually, he's donated enough money that those are permanent, affixed fixtures and they cannot come down.
It's insane. Don't forget about Dr. Landon, too, who received the money from Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's private gynecologist.
Yes. Oh, God.
Also.
He had an OBGYN on fucking retainer that works for the Ohio State University.
The Ohio State University. Yeah. I'm glad we didn't win this year. I don't know. Not to self-flagellate or anything, but fuck that.
You know, it's heartbreaking. Bad when they won't take that stuff down, but they're willing to take down pride flags at Stonewall, get rid of anything that's diversity. I think it was like the Black History somewhere too. They just took down the entire strip. Like
every single national monument.
Something down when it's not their own. But as soon as it hurts one of their little gang buddies, they will keep that shit up forever.
That's it. That's what this is all about. This is they're in the club, you're not in the club, and that's it. You know? It makes you wonder, like, did just George Carlin get invited and then didn't go? And then just like, wrote a bunch of material about it? It's possible.
Yeah, you gotta wonder.
Yeah, obviously it's something. But yeah, it's heartbreaking to see Ohio State be at the fucking center of so much of this. But Les Wexner, the other one, Jess Staley, and there's one other guy, I'm blanking on the name, but there are people who clearly need to be investigated and really prosecuted, like Leon Black, like these people. There is evidence enough for an indictment, likely. I'm not a legal expert. That's not my area of expertise. Is I don't know, probably something about cocaine, but.
I haven't been the plaintiff many times.
Yeah, I have spent a fair amount of time in the courtroom and in prison, where all of the best lawyers will tell you they are. So it's mind-boggling that there's no accountability, especially when you see like Norway arrested their prime minister. Like that's how it's done. But that's what happens when you educate your fucking public. You know what I mean? Norway's education is fucking light years beyond ours. All right, let's so we got Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey. Thomas Massey has been receiving death threats, whatever, and I guess they all are, Marjorie Taylor Greene, all of them. But Massey put out that tweet that was real cryptic, like, I know how to swim, I know how to handle a gun, I've never pointed it at nobody, like my brakes work, please, understand that I'm not suicidal. Which, in some context seems like, oh, maybe he's just trolling, maybe he's just being funny. But no, because this is real. Like, we have a signed affidavit by Tiffany Doe saying that she watched Trump threaten children's lives. Right? We've seen this happen. We've seen Trump act like this in public, act like a fucking bully in public. And you got things like this. So here's a document that proves that Alan Dershowitz forced Virginia Giuffre to recant her accusation. Over and over again, we hear, why don't these victims come forward? Why this? Why that? Because they are children when this happens to them. and they're traumatized, and then they are fucking bullied into not doing it. I just don't know how much clearer these files can make what the fucking problem is before this small whatever percentage of the population is either getting paid to prop this up or some people doing it for love of the game, but just sick fucks just will not let this shit go. Will not let this shit go.
You want me to read it?
Go ahead.
We should be aiming at a short, simple statement such as, the event at issue occurred approximately 15 years ago when I was a teenager, although I believed then, and continue to believe, that AD was the person with whom I had sex. Recent developments raise the possibility that this may be a case of mistaken identification. The alternative thing they could say, that it may have been someone else, that someone mistakenly told me it was him. We should be able to come up with a mutually acceptable statement. It should be acceptable if the statement came from you rather than her if she prefers.
Fucking twisted. This is how the background operation works.
This is why when people drop their cases, that means nothing to me. I don't care that the cases were dropped. It just means they were intimidated into dropping the cases.
Yeah, it really should be illegal for a person to pay their way out of a rape case. There should be like, if you want to adjudicate a settlement, it should have to be done in open court. You should have to present evidence regardless. I just don't believe that this is a crime that should just be, because that's basically what we've made a system in America where, and probably throughout the world, where as long as you can pay enough money to whoever you do violence to, you don't have to actually have any consequences other than the money. And if you have enough money, that's not really a consequence. So we, again, have people who just live above the law, and that is not acceptable. No more billionaires. It's not complex. All right. Here's this one. This is Stephen Chung, who is an absolute trash bag. It is also the not press secretary. It's like the chief communications officer for Trump. Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie are some of the dumbest R words ever to be in Congress. They are knowingly and willfully ruined the lives of innocent people who had nothing to do with Epstein. This is the Jacqueline Sweet tweet, the original tweet. Reps Khanna and Massie pushed the DOJ to unredact a file in the Epstein files. Then Khanna read four men's names on the House floor speech, calling them wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. Listen, your association with Epstein makes you sus as fuck. All right? You should resign in shame for having kept this man as a friend. These people are emailing him like best buds. They're going to parties together. They're not just randomly running into each other. And the people whose names he read on the floor, the ones that we know, oh, they did some shit. Boy, they did some shit.
Didn't the Sultan already step down?
Yes. Kind of a big deal from his company, or well, from sultaning.
Right, yeah, no, oh, no.
He didn't desalt. He just, doesn't do the business parts anymore. Because, shame is real in other countries, apparently. This one, I don't know how this slipped in here. There are two emails.
It's fate.
We're not getting stuck here. Brad is a 9/11 enthusiast.
Who put that in there?
But there are two emails from Ghislaine Maxwell in these files. One on the 18th of September, 2001, which is, a week after September 11th, 2001. It says, "Where is the real pilot?" From Philip Levine to G-Max.
Yeah, because 9/11 was planned, staged, premeditated. I don't know how else to explain it, but a bunch of terrorists and their paper passports did not 9/11 us.
There's a lot of questions around 9/11. I will grant that. I always get uncomfortable around the conspiracy theories where people die. It just makes me so uncomfortable. But yeah, there's that. And there's another one that's not included that's even worse. So maybe Brad on a different episode, we'll talk in depth more.
Cool. For those that are new to the show, on Sundays, we like to do conspiracy theories. And as we're learning, actually, nothing is a theory anymore, and it's all just proven fact. And this was just it. So outside of the flat Earth theory, we've actually just been discussing real world things for the last couple of months on Sundays. So check it out if you want to hear us talk about that.
All right, this one's tiny. Somebody give me a hand with this. Oh, this is just proving the point too. How many people have just disappeared around this thing?
You got to take. You want me to?
Sure, I can. This is also just a reminder. Mark Middleton, Bill Clinton's advisor, was found hanged and shot in his Arkansas home in May of 2022, and it was ruled a suicide. Thomas Bowers, head of Duchesne's Bank Wealth Management Division that moved money for Epstein, frequently was found hanged in his California home in November 2019.
Deutsche Bank.
Yeah. John Connolly was an investigative journalist chasing the Epstein case who was found dead in 2022. Wendy Lee, also an investigative journalist who was assassinated.
Yes, I would assume so as well. Then this person responds with a picture of Peter Thiel's boyfriend, who Peter Thiel being a married man. That's his side piece who just also suicided. This show clearly is never going to be monetized now that we've said the word suicide a bunch of times. So may as well just none of them are anyway. So like, in case you didn't notice, like we don't play the games. These are two adult conversations to have. Like we have to talk about these things in plain English. There's no way to do this. Another person who was murdered was Haley Robeson, is a survivor, and she had a boyfriend who she was very much in love with, and he, right after the indictment of Jeffrey Epstein in 2006, literally days later, was murdered, and that case is still cold. They have no idea who killed him. So that is also just another mysterious murder around these cases. It happens all of the time. So Massey is not overreacting by putting those things out there at all. I also hate that I have to stand up for Thomas Massey, by the way. I hate it. So this is, again, just to drive on the point from Sascha. I've been speaking up for about 10 years now. What I learned is that one voice is easy to ignore. Even several voices saying the same thing can be easily ignored. But when we all raise our voices together, we can't be silenced. And that's why we just got to keep driving this home, because we cannot let these people stand by themselves anymore. Because even though there's so many of them, despite all of their stories being so similar, we're still like pretending like maybe this didn't happen.
Yeah, as much as I'd rather talk about fun stuff and do conspiracies, and like this is obviously not enjoyable to talk about or to read about, or but the more people that bring it to light, it's hard to ignore.
Yeah.
We just can't let it die, and that's what they want to happen.
Yes, they're trying so hard. All he says is, we just got to move on from this. Oh, we're still talking about Epstein. This has been circling the internet. This is from an old BBC documentary.
We've spoken to a number of sources who saw Donald Trump at the parties. Most paint a similar picture.
Just describe to us the way Donald Trump behaved at these parties.
I mean, this guy it was like a predator in action.
I went to the washroom and I was going in and a girl was coming out and she kind of looked at me and I go, "Have you talked to that Trump guy?" And she goes, "Yeah, as I was walking by, he's like trying to grab my ass."
We do know that he was having sex with them.
How do you know that?
Because the next day or days after we'd hear about it, he'd brag about it to his friends and it would get around that he scored, maybe one or two girls at a time, which is what he loved to do.
There's no evidence that Donald Trump slept with underage girls. But what's most shocking is the age of some of the models at the parties.
There was girls, I would say 14, 15 years old, from Europe, the European girls.
They were 14 or 15?
There were girls that were 14, 15 years old, for sure. I mean, I didn't run up and say, "How old are you?" But They looked younger than I was, and I was 17. You just knew because of what they were wearing and how they would hold themselves.
And these girls are all like, anywhere from 14, 15, 16 years old. There was very few girls above the age of 19 there.
And you saw Donald Trump with these girls who were that young, 15, 16?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, they're standing around with them, ogling them.
It was just disgusting. I felt like I was in the presence of a shark we're getting ready to roll his eyes back in his head and bite me. That's how I felt. It was just like, get the hell out of here.
President of the United States of America. That's who they were talking about, in case you were unaware. That's what they were speaking about.
And it's crazy how they say no evidence, but people claiming is evidence. It was you ignoring them and not following through with it that makes it not evidence.
Yeah, 100%. It's like it's circumstantial, perhaps, until it's verified, but it is evidence. And there's always, even all day today, I wondered if I had time, if this was like my real job, like I would have had a whole montage of the Sunday shows repeating over and over again. There was President Trump is not accused of any wrongdoing. President Trump is 1000% accused of wrongdoing a lot.
Lots of accusations.
Tons and tons and tons of accusations. You want to say he has not been convicted of or indicted for, those are honest statements for now. But to say that he hasn't been accused, this is the news. This is like ABC, NBC, the Sunday shows, the last bastion of so-called fucking journalism. And they're like, well, he hasn't been accused. No, bitch, you ain't listening then, because I'm going to tell you, he is constantly being accused of so many things by so many people. I mean, the settlements alone from the 80s and 90s, those are accusations, whether he settles them or not. Like, that's, you're just ignoring facts, ignoring reality. So don't fucking tell me there's no goddamn accusations. There's accusations, my friend. All right, we're getting close on time, so I want to talk about this because this has been storming the internet. I'm sure that if you follow the show, likely part of your social media feed has been this as well. This is from Hassan Piker. It says, liberal Twitter has erupted demanding party loyalty, hitting lesser evilism and harm reduction lines 2 years out from the presidential election, but they refuse to reckon with this historic unpopularity for the Dems as Trump is deeply unpopular. Hold your elections accountable, please. This is the Democratic Party favorability, favorable, unfavorable, and it is, as you can see, in the fucking dumps. 64% of people have a unfavorable view of the Democratic Party, and 33.9% have an unfavorable view. And I am willing to posit it's because they haven't done a goddamn thing to try to impeach or stop this fucking insanity. You guys have any thoughts before we get into this?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the cowardice. That's exactly what it is. Like, people are like, why aren't they working to stop this? Like, that's really exactly what it is. Like, why aren't they doing anything to stop this?
Jake?
The small line we used to be able to see between the two parties have disappeared completely.
Yeah.
The same people.
Yeah, it's the same people. All right. Let's watch this video. This is Hakeem Jeffries, the leader. We'll start with him because this is like technically who's in charge. Whoops. We're good.
ICE has killed 8 people this year alone that we know of. 2 of them, Renee Nicole Good and Alex Pretty. The latest polls came out this week, AP polls. Over 60% of Americans now disapprove of ICE. You said you want to rein in ICE. I'm talking about the long term now. Why not lead and say abolish ICE? Because what you're telling us is you want our taxpayer dollars to pay for a lawless masked armed agency to continue terrorizing our cities.
I don't understand anything that you just said.
I spoke English.
I don't understand anything that you've just said to me when I've made clear that taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for the American people, not brutalize or kill them.
Abolish ICE. You agree with me, Joy. Abolish ICE.
That is listen, I'm going to use the language that I want to use. You can use the language that you want to use. And the language that I'm using.
So simple. I wonder what PAC money he takes. I wonder what PAC money he takes.
BlackRock, APAC. It's unreal. So the idea that they're trying to jam Gavin Newsom down our throats now is predictable. But the idea that this man is anything worthy of the presidency, like this is the reason for me. This was enough. And it should be enough for you too, I think. There is a picture of Gavin Newsom removing a homeless man's walker from his things. The headline reads, Gavin Newsom helps clean up a homeless encampment at a freeway in San Diego in January 12, 2022. As you can see, he's holding high a walker. A walker. Yeah, thank you for zooming in on that. This is like the lesser of two evils is still evil. People who throw the homeless as walkers in dumpsters are evil. Okay? The idea that like you're homeless, you have nothing, so let me take your nothing makes you a vile, disgusting, despicable human being in my eyes. But maybe we agree on policy? No, we do not. So there's really nothing for me and for most people. Guys, before we go AOC versus Gavin, what
Can I ask a question about that picture before we move on? Do you have a lot of information of that time? Were the people whose stuff they were taken, were they taken aside and given food, shelter, and maybe some supplies?
They were in fact not.
They
were in fact not, no. No, they just had their things removed from them. These people are, I assume, still.
Our man Steve Hill said they just shipped them out and gave them a liquor store and called it a day.
Oh, yeah, that was rough. Yeah, so I don't know. You guys, initial thoughts for Gavin before you can save some hate because we're going to talk about 3 specific policies.
Yeah, he's blue MAGA, dude. You'll never convince me otherwise. He's just blue MAGA.
Mm-hmm. Same shit, different font.
Truth. Okay, so let's do this. What's important to us? So, genocide. Can we talk about a genocide? Well, here's Gavin Newsom on Ben Shapiro, left-wing podcaster Ben Shapiro, really trying to reach out to the base. It says everything you need to know about the fucking establishment Democrats right here.
Israel did not commit a genocide in Gaza. There is no standard by which Israel committed a genocide in Gaza, just on a factual level.
Just as a legal and factual level.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your opinion of this?
My opinion is I understand the tendency for people to make that, to assert that.
Why?
On the basis of the images and the proportionality.
Ugly
as it relates
shit doesn't
to
mean genocide?
No. And by the way, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
The leader of the Dems. They sure know how to lose an election, bro.
We're going to go up against JD Vance, Marco Rubio, and fucking lose.
No wonder why they don't know what evidence is. That's crazy. Pictures don't mean anything. Words do not mean anything.
Yeah.
So there is no evidence.
It turns out when you take into account the fucking genocide, people think it's a genocide. How about this instead?
Front row here first. It's the first one I saw, and then we'll go to the third row.
Hello. Thank you so much for the interesting conversation. My name is Hagar. I'm from Israel. I'm a journalist for Haaretz, and my question is for Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. I wanted to know if you think that the Democratic presidential candidate in the 2028 elections should reevaluate military aid to Israel.
I mean, to me, this isn't just about a presidential election. Personally, I think that the United States has an obligation to uphold its own laws. particularly the Leahy laws. And I think that personally that the idea of completely unconditional aid, no matter what one does not make sense. I think it enabled a genocide in Gaza, and I think that we have thousands of women and children dead that was completely avoidable. And so I believe that enforcement of our own laws through the Leahy laws, which requires conditioning aid in any circumstance when you see gross human rights violations, is appropriate.
Yeah, basically, Leahy laws just mean like we don't give money to people who commit genocides. It's really, we don't give our taxpayer dollars don't go to that. We have laws. The laws already exist. We just choose to ignore them. Both parties.
If anybody's going to eradicate someone from the earth, it's going to be the USA. Damn it.
God damn it. They will. All right. So how about everybody loves Gavin Newsom's, his tweets, right? Funny guy. Hilarious, right? He does all the videos. But the person that does that is actually his, press office, the head of his press office. And she does a great job. So obviously, like, he would give her some credit and prop her up and stand by her, especially when, Ben Shapiro goes after her, because Ben Shapiro, is never going to vote Democrat. Nobody who listens to Ben Shapiro is ever going to vote Democrat. People who listen to Ben Shapiro, how? But also are never going to vote Democrat. But here, let's take a listen.
One was a narrative that was immediately pushed by the Trump administration and Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem that she was a domestic terrorist who was attempting to run over officers with her car and was legitimately trying, not just this officer, but multiple officers. That was the original statement. I said at the time, I thought that was untrue. And then your press office tweeted out that it was state-sponsored terrorism, which, Governor, I do have to ask you about that. Yeah. That sort of thing makes our politics worse.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Our ICE officers obviously are not terrorists.
Yeah.
A tragic situation is not state-sponsored terrorism.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Well, yeah, American citizens are being murdered by a mass police force. It's definitely not terrorism. Fuck you, Gavin Newsom.
That's insane. Like, the only reason people have any favorable view of him is because of her. At all. And he's like, the first opportunity he gets, nah. So that person in the memes, folks, if you're voting for him, you ain't getting him. He doesn't exist. He ain't real. Let's talk about taxes. Oh, I forgot. No, let's talk about ICE first. Yeah,
some of the Republican colleagues are basically saying that ICE is doing its job and that people are there to disrupt them and to stop them. What would you want to tell them?
I would not say that assassinating a young mother of 3 in the street is part of ICE's mandate. ICE specifically has a mandate that has nothing to do with going after U.S. citizens. Watch the video for yourself. You don't have to worry about the politics with me or what I'm going to say or what anyone else is going to say. Watch that video for yourself, and you will see a woman trying to back up her vehicle and leave a volatile scene. And she was met with 3 bullets to the face. You tell me, and any law enforcement officer in the country worth their salt can tell you that that is not how you handle that situation. And so the fact that ICE receives less training, this started with Patriot Act, post 9/11 violation of American civil liberties, and it continues in that strain.
Boom. Yeah, and that position, that specific position about 9/11 is popular, not just on the left, but also on the right and in the middle and just about everywhere else where patriotism exists for the idea that the United States is actually a free country. Like, in order to be a free country, you would not want a government agency whose job it is to spy on you or to come and check your papers or to root your neighbors out of your house. You would not give emergency powers to the president that just exceed the powers of Congress, because that would be fucking giving it right back to a king. So it's probably, one of the more popular positions. And it's one that all politicians run from. Like, it's fucking, I don't know, nuclear.
I thought we all hated the government, and now I'm learning that actually people don't.
No, the people who say they did actually had secret pictures of the government under their pillow and yanked off to it every night. All right, so one last one. Let's talk about taxing the rich.
So there is a wealth tax proposal in California that I think you are adamantly...
Wait, because you probably already know where this is going. But the person he's sitting with is Aaron Ross Sorkin, and it's at a financial thing, surrounded by rich people, because that's where he lives. It's the only people, just like him and Jeffries, the only people they surround themselves with are these donors.
So there is a wealth tax proposal in California that I think you are adamantly against.
Yes, I am.
And we have a mayor that's coming here in New York who would like to have a wealth tax if he could. You couldn't be more diametrically opposed.
Yeah, well, I want to be a Big Ten party. It's about addition, not subtraction.
But this idea of a unifying theory of the case.
I mean, I think we all want to be protected. We all want to be respected. We all want to be connected to something bigger than ourselves. We have fundamental values that I think define our party about social justice, economic justice. I think we recognize it's important to focus on growth, but also focus on inclusion. We have pre-distribution Democrats. We have redistribution Democrats. And therein lies the dialectic, and therein lies the debate within the Democratic Party. We also have Democrats that are representative of their districts, representative of the people that they represent. So much punditry has been done about
the
future of the party of Mandami. At the same election that occurred, well, is the future, of Virginia, is the future, New Jersey is the future.
But which is it? And that's the question about the unifying theory question, which is you could have a big tent, but if the theories of the case are so diametrically opposed, how split and broken is the party?
Look, the party's knitting itself back together. We got shellacked in the last election. And there's been a lot of forensic analysis, perhaps not enough, about what happened.
Forensic?
Yeah. Let me tell you.
Yeah, every centrist issue that you are centrist on, you need to be left on. It's simple.
It's real simple. You trotted out other billionaires. You trotted out Liz Cheney. You ran literally. You started off with an all-right campaign that people could get behind. It was a lot of joy. It was a lot of fun. And then you just fucked it. You did what the Democratic Party always does and turned it into a Republican thing, but you did it so fast. Never in the history of the Democratic Party have they run to the right so fucking fast. And they do it every single time. You took Obama. The message they took from the rejection of Hillary Clinton and the election of Barack Obama was that they needed to put a bunch of Clinton advisors in Obama's administration to make him more right-wing. That was the lesson that the Democrats took from Obama's overwhelming victory, was that this left progressive wave gives us an opportunity to impose right-wing values. And they keep fucking doing it, and they're doing it with Newsom all over again. This motherfucker said nothing because he believes in nothing. That made no sense because he makes no sense because he doesn't have a goddamn moral. There's not a one thing that he stands up for. He's pretended to stand up for LGBTQ plus rights. He was seen as a big fucking leader in that department until somebody asked him. If he fucking believed in it, and then he was like, "Well, no, not if you don't. I don't know. Do you? Do I?" He doesn't fucking know because he doesn't have a fucking spine. He's a piece of shit. He uses that goddamn knee pad line every chance he fucking gets. We get it, dude. You're unoriginal. You don't have anything to say. You don't believe in anything. You're for billionaires. You're for fucking big government. You are just trash as a candidate. And anybody that stands behind him at this point is nothing but a goddamn Republican. He's Ronald Reagan reincarnated. He's exactly Reagan.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's like they've like pushed so far right now that like Democrats are like, we should elect Reagan.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what we should do.
That's exactly it. That's what we've become. We're what this constant, because it's like we need to, we as we need to meet them in the middle, and then they move to the right, and then we're like, we meet them in the middle again, but they move to the right. It's happened so many times, and now we are literally the party of Reagan. That's where we're at. Democrats are now the party of Ronald Reagan.
Woof.
We have options. We choose not to use them. Here is how it should sound when you're asked about taxing the wealthy. Look at how short this clip is. Comparison. 24 seconds. 24 seconds. He stammered on for what, 2 minutes there?
Yes.
So when you run for president, are you going to impose a wealth tax or a billionaire's tax?
I don't think that I don't think that anyone, and that we don't have to wait for any one president to impose a wealth tax. I think that it needs to be done expeditiously.
Period. Point blank. Period.
Hell yeah. No, we don't got time to wait for me to be president. It has to happen today.
I think the main difference we need to pull from these two things is education level. When AOC gives an answer, she gives what they're doing wrong, what laws they're breaking, and how we should solve it.
Yes.
She doesn't dance around questions. She is very clear, and she knows what she wants, and she just says it. And she's never faltered on her things. Like, she will say the same thing tomorrow if you ask her all those same questions again. She will say the exact same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's principles. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, you see, like in our conversation with the different independent candidates, and even like I was like where they don't necessarily agree on things, like you still see like a solidarity between them because they're coming from the heart. Like this is what people actually believe. This isn't like some crowdsourced bullshit talking points. It's not Hakeem Jeffries having heard that affordability was the talking point, and so now we can't break from affordability, even if like Hakeem, you just got shot in the street. Can you call an ambulance? Well, what we need to do is affordability about the shooting and thing. But he's bleeding out, Hakeem. But like, you don't understand. I'm going to talk about it the way I want to talk about it. It's mind numbing, and it's just over and over again with these people. And it's fucking exhausting. And this is the reason why. The only reason this guy is still in power is because people like that will not reassert their own power in Congress. And here's AOC on the problem.
Treated horribly by my own party. I just was. I was told that I was an enemy of my party, that I was going to be the reason why the right won, that I was going to cause that the entire future of the country was in balance, and that I was the reason why we would lose. And what was hurtful about it was that they were telling me this because of what I believed. I was being told this because of my commitment to trans rights, because of my commitment for Medicare for All, which is seen as radical communist propaganda in the United States, that I believe in workers' rights. And in the Democratic Party, we have a broad coalition. And so some of the most conservative members of the Democratic Party, it can be hard. There has to be some give on that front, with the brutal reality that we are all that we have. We will not survive apart. And I know that I've been there. It feels very difficult and challenging when sometimes the people who are diminishing you are the ones that you need. And that goes in all directions, right? We have to learn how to hold conflict and hold together in conflict. And I think it requires acknowledgement. And again, it requires concessions for all of us. it's hard because we have to tell the truth. It's not to say we can't say these things. It's not to say you're not allowed to say these things. God forbid. But
Oh, you cut it off a little bit there, but that's all right. You get the idea. And if you are, as we are, to the left of the Democratic Party, which means that you do not hunt the homeless for sport, that means that you probably have felt this way too, online, in your family, whatever. Like people treat this stuff like it's some insane, impossible communist dream. And it's just not, man. Like these are just basic things. So don't ever feel bad about advocating for unions, trans rights, better wages, better pay, because we fucking do deserve it. Tax the fuck out of billionaires, man. Like they don't deserve to be billionaires. Nobody does. It's called wealth hoarding. It's illegal. It should be illegal, and it's harmful. They're out here killing people. Genocide is wrong. Nothing wrong with saying that. Pedophiles should not be elected president. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Like, I mean, just don't be afraid to speak up for your principles and do the right thing. And, help support, especially like when we find these candidates and they come on here and they do a good job, like prop them up online, man, because like we need people. A lot of them are running independent in these, because we all feel disenfranchised by our country, not just by any one particular party. The oligarchs love fascism. A big enough swath of the population also likes fascism. And so we have fascism because there's no option. We have to make the option. We still, hopefully, for the moment, have the ability to create that option. That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do.
We have to fight back as long as we're able to.
Yeah. In every way that we can, in every way that we're able. That's what I will say about like Hassan Piker. Like I agree with him broadly on most things, but I still believe that in voting, in 2016, I voted. I don't know. I might have wrote in Homer Simpson. I did not vote for Hillary Clinton. I will not vote for Hillary Clinton. Not for anything. I would not vote for her to do anything. But I also like learned a lesson that year from a lot of vulnerable communities who explained to me why it was so important to have my vote for harm reduction. And so like I do believe that is necessarily true. What I believe is not okay is for the Democratic Party to know that and exploit it year after year after year. So you're going to get 364 days of fight out of me. And I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure you don't give me trash like Gavin Newsom. That's just it. Like that's what I believe in. And I hope that you all get out there and do the same. And if you do decide not to vote, I get it. I get it. I'm telling you how I operate. That's all. All right. Last thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I don't know if we can vote our way out of this one, brother.
I don't think so either, but hey, we're going to try. Jake, what do you think?
I'm just on AOC. Anyone that close to Bernie is close to my heart, too.
Yeah, that's true. He was right about a lot, just about everything.
He was.
Yeah.
And he's still alive. You lying sons of bitches.
Wait.
They all believe that he wouldn't make it through. He'd be dead if he was president. That was the biggest thing that they pushed towards the end, too, along with him being too socialist.
Yeah. Did he have like a stroke or something that didn't help?
And a decade later, he's still kicking, pissed off at the oligarchs.
Yeah. No, I agree. If you had to give me an octogenarian for president, it's a fucking no-brainer for me.
And then we voted for Joe Biden and Donald Trump. So, like, your argument is completely invalid.
Right. I know. Yeah. Because it was never about that, Jake. It was never, ever, ever about that. It's about the other thing. It's about the fascism that they love.
It's okay.
Yeah. We're moving on. We're going to do whatever we build out of the fucking rubble of this trash heap. It's going to be better. Because the bar's so low. It's just so low. It's got to be better. All right, that's the show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Thanks for pushing us out into the fucking algorithm because God knows I said the word rape and suicide too many times for it to get out there on its own. So if the nation is growing, and it is, well, then it's because of you. So thank you for that. Until next time, I'm John.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Brad.
And that's what's left.
The SAVE Act is still a poll tax, and it's still unconstitutional.